Oh, man. Okay, I'll take it. All right. Thank you, brethren. Thank you for joining me. My name is JEHOVIH Israel. I'm sorry for the trumpet blowing there. That wasn't too good. But thank you for joining me, you brethren, Nazarene, Mahalia, everybody. Thank you for joining me, my channel where I try to redeem the time. I try to do the only thing that I think that is profitable for a man to do in reality period, in his life period, which is to try to figure out the source of all things and then follow it. Try to learn what the will of the creator of all that we see, hear, do, and and just try to find out who the source is, learn who the source is, and then see if he has anything to say about the reality that we're a part of, and then just go about trying to implement it, to live by it, to share it, to learn. So that's what this channel is for. It's a channel where I use I share with, I talk a lot about the Oahspe Bible, the Oahspe Bible, and it's not for everybody. This channel is it's not for everybody, and every day more and more I realize that the struggle that you face, you brethren who you're really on another level, spiritually speaking, because you're able to hear the Creator's voice, and we're being called to attain to His voice. It's pretty long. It's lonely travel, in the sense that even among faithists, we're not really 100% unified. We're still, even amongst faithists, we're kind of broken down into our own little camps. And I mean, we believe in the Creator. We agree on what the will of the Creator is, and it's all good. But we're not really unified. Like I think that we are going to be, which is a good thing. I think we are going to be unified in such a way that will unmistakably the world will know that the Creator, he didn't disappear. He has a plan for his children, for his people, and he's going to bring it to pass. So on my channel, I like to share. I feel I'm the type of guy. I feel like if something, goes down in my life, and that there's always a reason behind it. I don't believe in coincidences. I like to share from a spiritual point of view or Oahspe point of view the things that happened to me. So today, I was talking with the home care lady who comes by, does my bandaging, that sort of thing, 3 times a week, and I really took a liking to her because she's one of those type of people that she just seems to have her own. She can think and not be influenced by what the world is telling her how she should think. And I appreciate that. I like that, and I made her mad today, and because I was telling her something that was hard for her to hear. And I'll go ahead and share a little bit of it with you, brethren. Now, it's going to sound real kooky, but back during the time of the virus, there was something. Now, I don't want to cause any kind of phobias in people. This is something you really ought to look at yourself. You got to research and look at it. I don't think that you brethren disagree with me when I say we live in one hell of a diabolical situation, one hell of a diabolical present reality. And I mean that what's a good word for the wicked? What's a good word for the false gods? Put this over there. It's getting in my face too much. Okay, what's a good word for agendas? What's a good word for deception? I learned, when I'll call it the plague, the pandemic, so you brethren can know what I'm talking about, because YouTube is uh, really, really not about free speech. And so you got to watch it. I'm sure you brethren already know that. I'm not telling you anything new. Well, anyway, one thing I learned about the plague. The plague. Now remember, the plague is the the virus. All right, you got to remember that, because I'm not going to refer to it with the name that you are familiar with. The plague, when it started a few years ago, and I looked into it, my spirit just said to look into it, and I had just happened to come across a conversation that was doubting the uh, efficacy of needle the needle. You brethren got to follow me, okay? The needle. I was learning about the problematic nature of the needle, the injections, and I come to find out that they were basically injecting operating systems into people. Now I know that sounds kooky, and you know, bro, you a truck driver, Nazarene, and you a little down the street from me, San Bernardino, Rialto, and now you going back to Charlotte. That's out of sight, man. I used to drive them big trucks too, and I used to love to travel. I didn't do it for long, but I liked it when I did it. All right, man. Good for you, man. I hope you're having fun. You know, how did you like Cali, man? Was it your first time out here? Put it in the chat what you thought about it. So anyway, going back to I found out what the agenda was, but ultimately it was the creator bringing Gia. He was bringing Gia on the earth, Gia on the earth in the form of a plague, a pandemic, a disease. And one of the things I learned what man did is he saw a way to take advantage of the situation. Now, that's what I really believe. I believe that the pandemic, the disease, you brother, you know what I'm talking about, that took place a couple of years ago, the big C, started about 2019. Y'all remember that? Swept the world, was a global alert. It was global news for a little while there. Now, I believe that that was the creator, and he brought that season of Gia. Gia, I should be having this stuff on screen. I should be having this on screen. I personally believe that the powers that be, those amongst us, I don't know what a good name for the corrupted, the corrupted, the corrupt, those who are part of the agenda, the corrupted agenda, I'll say that they saw this pandemic, this plague, this disease, and I personally believe they took advantage of it to implement the injections. Let's say that. And in doing so, I believe they saw a way to help further control people. And when I looked at it, when I read about it, I found out that you brethren probably have been hearing a lot about 5G towers. Those of you who are into this sort of thing, not everybody's into this sort of thing like I am. Here's AG again. I want to go to show the definition of while I'm talking. We talked a lot about it yesterday. The sister came on and we had a real good discussion about these things. And now, to make a long story short, okay, I found out that one of the things that the injection, what it did to people, was it introduced an operating system in the people. Now, again, I don't want to freak people out who wouldn't had to get the injection. You know what I mean? But that thing, it was able to, people were able to be, hey, Fritz, brother, thanks for joining us, man. So one of the things that I learned, one of the agendas behind the needle, the injection, that was a couple of years ago, it was to introduce an operating system into people, an operating system that it was able to form itself. Now, I know it sounds crazy, it sounds kooky, but there's too many doctors that was coming out and they were talking about something called graphene oxide. If you go online, if you really want to know, if you really want to look at it, then if you go on the internet and then you take it from there, start following the breadcrumbs back to the sources who are telling you these things and who will tell you more. The evil scientists, should I say that? That sounds too cartoonish, but I'm trying to think of a good word to describe I'm really talking about the National Institutes of Health and that guy named Tony Fauci. He was the one that funded these things. Now, one of the things that the needle was able to do was introduce an operating system into people on the microscopic level to where 5G technology could affect you. If you have too many of those needles in you, injections, that it could introduce an operating system, if you can believe that. And not only that, but people who had gotten jabbed 3 or 4 times, they were able to shed that. They were able to spread it. And so, make a long story short, I was talking to the nurse today. She came in, the one who comes in 3 times a week, and I said, by the way, have you been stuck with the needle? And she said, yeah, a couple of times. I said, now listen to me. I said, I don't want to sound kooky, all right? But from now on, I want you to do the best you can to keep your distance from me. And now she got all upset, a woman, and then she got all bent out of shape, got all upset, and at this point in my life, now I don't want to sound harsh, but I didn't really care, I'm telling the truth. I'm not lying. I'm not trying. I told her I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not trying to make you feel bad or anything like that, but I'm talking about me. And I found out that people who've been injected, that they're able to carry this operating system that's on a microscopic level, and it can jump off on other people and make them subject to 5G technology as well. And so she didn't want to hear it. She was mad and everything. And I just said, hey, I don't care. I'm telling you to keep your distance from me when you in my apartment treating me. You can get mad all you want. Now, when she calmed down, and see, that's why I really like her a lot, because she calmed down and she thought she'd test me to see if I was just playing kooky. So she started questioning me. I said, well, why don't you let me introduce you to people who taught me? And so I went online and I started letting her listen to the doctors that were spreading this information. Now, the one that I had her listen to was killed because he was hitting too hard. He was getting the truth out there about the truth behind the needle, the injections, and they killed him. Matter of fact, let me show you the guy's face. So if you want to try to, they scrubbed his videos. They scrubbed them. Okay. Now this is the guy that I learned a lot from, and he turned me on to other doctors. Now this is the guy's name. Dr. Rashid Buttar. This brother right here. See, look at that. They killed him. He was landing some body blows on people about the truth, about what was behind the agenda. This brother right here. He was landing some serious, and the sister we had on yesterday, the sister that came in here yesterday, she said she spoke to him a couple of days before he passed away. Let me see. Mahalia's got something. She says, I was living in Lancaster, California when it came out, but my spirit told, see, I like that. Yes. I like that because mine did the same thing. Now, I ain't putting down anybody who didn't. Their spirit didn't witness the same thing. Mine did. Now, I'm not very sensitive to my spirit like I think sisters are and other people are. But I do remember I ain't going nowhere near that. I just ain't doing it, you know. I had got to a point in my spirituality, I think I was really beginning to wake up to the way that mankind really is. Now, I'm not faulting anybody who don't agree with me, or it was just me. I made a personal decision. You know, I was very suspect, and then I ran into brothers like this, and he just laid it out, man. I even knew when I was looking at his videos, I knew he wasn't going to be around for too long. I knew it, and then they got him. And he's not the only one. There are hundreds and thousands of doctors who were out there trying to warn people, but you don't hear about them. But see, this was a bold brother. This is a real man right here, you know. And so when I was talking to the home care lady, I said, look, you know, I know that when you let them plug you like that with that needle, that it puts something in you where you could spread that shit, you know. Forgive my language. That's what I said to drive my point home. I said, so from now on, listen, you know, when you coming in here treating me and doing my wounds, which I appreciate, just as best you can, keep your distance from me. You keep your distance from me. I said, if you don't like it, then call your company and tell them you don't want to come out here, and they'll send somebody else. And if they don't send somebody else, then, you know, the VA will send. So I'll tell them to send somebody else, and they will. You know, I'm at that stage in my life. I really have to compromise a little bit more with the Uzi. And sometimes I don't compromise like I should. But I was shown conclusively that people who have gotten that damn thing, that they can shed it. They can shed it. Matter of fact, I remember looking at video. I don't expect any of those videos to be up where they showed like a magnet, you know, how they would take people who had gotten plugged, you know, that had got the needle, and then they would take a magnet and put it up to their skin, and that damn magnet would stick right to their skin, right at the place where they got jabbed, you know. And that meant that you were magnetized. And so that was, you know, pretty much all I really needed to see. And then, of course, I kept studying it. Now, what am I getting at? What I'm trying to say is a couple of things. Number one, we live in an evil, wicked type of world. I mean, where the depth of evil, I mean, it's on another level. You do things like that for the sake of controlling people, man. You introduce things into their bodies surreptitiously, deceptively. You say that, hey, you know, this is good for you. Do this, do this, do this. And then you don't know. See, I mean, we've been under. See, I'm not telling you, brethren, anything new, man. You know, it's an evil on another level, man, for the sake of controlling the population. The agenda is to control people. See, here's another one right here. That woman right there. She comes to mind. What's her name? I forget. Oh, what's her name? She got sent to jail. Matter of fact, what's her name? I don't know if you can see my cursor. I'm trying to circle her. This woman. I forget her name. Anybody in the chat, if you know who she is, put it in the chat. I forgot. She exposed a lot too of what's going on. And I learned, like I said, I learned two things talking to the lady who came in, who does, number one, people, there's, they can't handle it. They can't, I mean, it's like, I don't know how to even say it, man. The truth is not welcome here. It's so evil. It's so wicked. It ain't welcome here. And I told her, but I have to give her credit. She calmed down, and she has this ability to start questioning me, like to see if I know what I'm talking about, and wanting her to keep her distance from me, and knowing what I know, where I get it from, so she could consider it herself. So she calmed down a little bit. She took the information. She said she was going to study it. And I said, look, I'm not just trying to tell you, what the disadvantage of this thing is. There's also an advantage in that if you look into it, you can also find out a way how to nullify that stuff. There's things you can do to nullify the effect of that needle. There's things you can do. Except if you've had 5 or 6, injections, and it's close to almost nothing that you can do now. So I do respect that part. That what I said, that was a hard thing to say. Hey, you're gonna be coming in here, keep your distance from me, because you've been subjected to something that's meant to, that you can shed it, and give it to other people. And it's so microscopic. I mean, you can, now I don't want to cause any phobias on anybody, but I'm just trying to, number one, give you an idea of the situation that we are in. Number two, the truth that we proclaim, how right now it's pretty much under the radar. Don't hardly nobody listen to us. We talked about the creator, the Oahspe, and right now it's flying under the radar. But I'm telling you right now, false gods, when the time comes and they see the threat that the kingdom of God has to their kingdom, then you can expect some blowback, some kind of way, some demonic, diabolical type of way for them to put the light out. Now, I know I sound kooky, man, but you can't refute what I'm saying, that we live in a system where people who are in power, see, this brother spoke out, man. He spoke out, man. And I was looking at them videos. He spoke out, and they got him. Look at that. May 2023, they got it. Rest in peace. See? And I said, when I was talking to the home care lady, I said, I started getting mad. Because of her rejection. She was mad because I was telling her, look, I want you to keep your distance from me. And she got upset. And then I found myself starting to get upset because I was telling the truth as best as I could receive it from my own studies. And I was trying to protect myself. And so she got all upset, and I started getting upset in the sense that, look, I'm tired. I'm so tired of people coming out with the truth. And because you can't see it, you so used to everything being the same way, nothing changing. You so used to thinking that, you can trust the medical industry and they would never do us like that. I don't want to cuss and I don't want to be vulgar. You're so unenlightened, is my point. We live in this, we in a situation where, and I'm not trying to make myself sound, above anybody else, but we live in darkness. And when you try to bring that light out, you can expect some serious consequences. There are people like this brother here who gave their life because their information was too powerful. And I wouldn't doubt that it's a lot of that the creator, he said in the cosmic era, he was going to send angels. And when I hear things like that, I think of people who are going to stand up and tell the truth. It seemed like at some point they just get sick and be sick of being afraid and, what may happen. And that's why, when I was talking to the home care lady, a spirit came on me like, man, I'm so sick of having to be careful of telling the truth. I mean, I know you got to be mature. You got to use judgment. You can't just outright tell people any and every old thing. You got to use a sense of, you got to use a sense of discernment. But in this situation, I was talking about a situation that deals with me and her. So that's why I even brought it out. And then it just kind of extrapolated to where I just began to think about the situation we're in and, the depth of the enigma. Now, Oahspe, I appreciate it. It says, don't even talk about these things. Don't even bring them out, which, to be honest, I disagree with, because there's some things we ain't going to know unless they get talked about. Let's see, Mahalia says, it's horrible that children have to take. Yep. Oh, she's here. All right, Sarah. What do you think about what I'm saying? I told the brethren, see who I got on the screen here. I was telling the brethren that you talked to him a couple of days before he died. Remember we were talking, you said you talked to him a couple of days before he died? You know what I'm talking about, Sarah. See, Mahalia said, it's horrible that children have to take. Yep. I had to take them. You know what I mean, Mahalia? I had to take them. In the military, I had to take them. But now it's different, man. It's different to me now because I think that there are agendas behind these things. I'm telling you the truth, man. I think that there are agendas. People, they naturally trust the medical profession. They automatically do what they say. When I have to go to the VA and I'm talking, look on the screen. Can't you see the screen? I got him up on the screen. Can you see this? Is he up on the screen? Can y'all see that? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm showing it. It says I'm showing it. But Mahalia, I think that we barely made it out when we weren't under that type of agenda just yet. Me and you, Mahalia. I don't know how old you are, Mahalia, but I'm speculating that we probably came up around the same time where we had to get those injections, and probably was nothing behind it back then. But now I'm telling you, technology and science is on a level where they can do things. On me and Sarah was talking. Me and Sarah, oh, okay, Mahalia, you 68. All right, I'm 62. Me and Sarah was talking, and we talked about things on a cellular, biological level that science has gotten a hold of. And we talked about some good things. We talked about some not so good things about, the advancement in corruption. in technology. Hey, Sarah, one thing I forgot to tell you is that Billy Carson, I don't know if you know who he is, he said that you can change your DNA if you do things like repeat something positive for like 21 days straight. That you can change your DNA, and it goes back to what me and you were talking about dealing with ourselves on a cellular, molecular level. I mean, I do believe that, I believe, that we can shape our DNA. I'm sorry, but, I think the Creator has made us way more powerful than what we know. If you ask me, I'm sorry, but I believe that, I do. I believe it. And I think that's what Cosmin is all about, give the power back, the brotherhood of man, the kingdom of God, living without a government, living without a king, living without a tyrant, brethren being our brother's keeper for real. Nobody owns anything. Everybody had everything in common, just like in the book of Acts. The Essenes, I'm telling you. And people like this brother here, Butar, see what happened when you get out front and you tell the truth? See there? He ain't the only one. See? You got people they all out there, man, exposing the darkness. Yep, the UN, actually, Sarah, I was telling you about the World Health Organization. Let me see. I'll put the link in the room in case you want to come on again. I do want to get to the reading of the word because I want to talk about it. But if you want until then, or anybody, I'll put the link in the room. So, but anyway, Cosminer, the creator, he said that angel visitations was going to be more and more common, and I think we got it in our mind that it was going to be like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's going to be just only angels teaching us about Oahspe, but I think that it could be light against darkness, the sons of light, sons, daughters of light, rising up against forces of darkness and the ultimate defeat of darkness. I'm talking about brethren, people standing up, man, for what's right, standing up for their brother because they're sick of it, and they don't care about their life no more. If they got to be quiet in order for oppression to continue, just so that they can have it good. I mean, sound like people who stand up against the darkness. That sound like the Creator's people to me, even if they don't know nothing about Oahspe. That sound like the Creator's people to me. I mean, I could be wrong, but let me see. I think Sarah's in here, so let me bring her in. Can you hear me, Sarah?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so, good. Thanks.
I was talking about this the home care lady that comes in. I have to have my legs wrapped. She cleans my feet and the wound on my foot, and 3 times a week. And I finally came out because she I don't know how to say this, but she get real close to me. I mean, she get in my face. You know what I mean? Like real up on me. You know how somebody get up? You know what I mean? Like too close for comfort. Like almost cheek to cheek when she talking to me. And so I said, "Hey, look. You gonna have you been hit with the needle?" I'm using code. Okay, here on YouTube. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm explaining what went down with the home care lady. And so I asked her, "Have you been hit with the needle?" You know what I mean? You know what I mean when I say that?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, yeah. She said, yeah. I said, how many times? She said, like 2 or 3. And I said, now listen to me. I want you, when you come in here dealing with me, to keep your distance from me. Now, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And she didn't understand. She got all mad and everything, you know. And I told the lady before me, you know, who used to come in here, I told her, she didn't trip, you know. Matter of fact, she kind of knew what I was talking about. But this one, you know, she got all bent out of shape, and I don't, you know, I can't fault her, you know. And I said, look, I said, what you got in your body, that can jump off on me, you know, make a long story short. I said, you probably got an operating system in your body that make you subject to 5G. You don't know it, you know. And then I kind of got a retention with that one. And she started to settle down a little bit. She's an Aquarius like you, right? Mm-hmm. So if you can tap into their intellectual spirit, then you can get somewhere with them, with an Aquarius, you know. But you can't, they're not fools, you know. So I started to tell her, right? And then I brought up Rashid Buttar. I only remember him because me and you were talking about him, and I remember him. And so I let her listen. They scrubbed all his videos. You know that? You know they scrubbed them from the internet, right?
No, I didn't. But you can get them off of his website, and I can put his website in the chat.
Okay, now good. Is this website still up?
Well, yeah, Advanced Medicine.
Okay, good. Now, see, because I want to show her that. The home care lady, I want to show her that.
And there's another one. There's another one that he was invested in.
He also talked about how you can nullify the effects of that. Remember?
Yes, there's a few sites that do that.
Yeah. So I was just sharing how the truth is a shame because it's not welcome. Spiritually, physically, mental, anything that has, I mean, you know, we live in that type of situation where we in darkness. I'm sorry. We in some serious darkness. Now, when it comes to the Oahspe, if it hadn't been for the Oahspe, I don't think I'd be even thinking this way about the corruption that's in the world, the evil that's in the world on that level. And especially with, I don't want to get geopolitical. You know, I basically, my own point was just that, you know, there's, we as a people, the ignorance is sometimes a little hard to take when all you know is your own feelings, and then you let it block you from letting the light get in. You know, that make any sense? Or you know, are you being absent-minded Aquarian on me right now? Okay, so you listening to me, or are you talking to 10 other people at the same time?
No, I just put I put the Advanced Medicine, and then what I also did was put it in the YouTube as well, in case people can't see both chats.
Oh, okay. Again, it doesn't show up on StreamYard. So.
Well, it shows up on mine. Oh, under private chat.
Okay. No, I got it on the private chat.
Okay. Do I need to?
You said you talked to him a couple of days before he died?
Yeah.
And what were you talking to him about?
Well, we're part of a meditation group, and I think it was probably the meditation group but I'm also part of his. No, I think it was his private international. What's AIA? I don't know, it's this big acronym, and it's a private thing that a private group that we get together once a month, And so that was on a Monday because he died on 2 days before the convention. So he must have died on Wednesday, and the convention must have started on Friday, something like that.
I heard that that's the way you build up your immunity, by groups of people who are uncorrupted in their immune system.
But he felt that he was poisoned months before, because he had gotten really sick and had been tested, and they did find snake bite venom in his heart, 2 different separate doctors, and he had gotten well. He was in ICU. I think he had a near-death experience, but then he recovered. And then 2 days before his live convention, he just died in his home. And so, they have so many ways of doing that. Uh-oh. I've got a call coming in. I'm going to mute because I have a call coming in.
Okay. Yeah, Dave. I don't know, man, but to be getting, I that's uncomfortable to be getting up on somebody. Like, I mean, I know how, women like to be, they're like real personal, you know what I mean? And, but that is kind of uncommon to get that. I mean, like in my face, like really close while talking to me, and that's the only reason why I came out and said, I just started thinking, hey, now, I know that you work for a company and they probably forced you to get plugged, to get injected. They probably forced you. What they did. And I was trying to say, like, don't you think that there's a reason if they have to force you to do something, that don't you think that there's something behind it that is not good? Isn't that the way things work, like with secret society, and whether she is under an agenda, I don't know. I don't think that, but I didn't mean to hurt her feelings, but I do believe that they have been duped into having a thing put in them that you can give to other people. Now, I've never even talked like this before, but I'm only bringing it out because I'm just sharing that the truth, period, man, it just ain't welcome here, It's just, whether it's spiritual, it could be so clear cut. Another thing is just trying to talk and spiritual things and talking about the simple things and Oahspe and what the Creator is doing and how, it's like the darkness, to me, I just see it too clearly. It's almost problematic that when you talk to people and you can't even make simple, easy and you're trying to bless their soul and you can't do it, So it's nearly time for the reading of the word. So let me go to my room real quick and share some of the things that I shared. And here's a room here where I'm a part of. Brother Omian's room, where brethren get together, and I like to share Oahspe verses in this room right here. Here's the other room, Cosmin there. If somebody's new, you watching this video, there's another room you can join, and we share the Oahspe, talk about the Oahspe. And then here's my room where let me see, did I share the other room? Let me make sure I showed it. All right, that's the other room. Here's my room where I like to. The difference between my room and the other rooms is sometimes I'll share what the AI says about one thing or another. Here's my mom's food ministry, where I try to target orphans, disabled, and elderly. And if I ever find out where I can pitch in, there's my contact information. I certainly could be contacted. Here's my room, and then some of the things that I shared that I wanted to share. Here's something really interesting. Let me see. Am I sharing? Yeah, my screen. Yeah. Here's something I found in the book of Judgment I thought was interesting. Check this out. And it's jumping in the middle of a thought again. It says of grade 1. Now, grade 1, spiritual grade, Oahspe talks about spiritual grade 1 to 99, right? 1 is the lowest. And it says here of grade 1, there are hundreds of millions of angels strolling about on the earth crying out, I want to go to Brahma. I want to go to Buddha. I want to go to Jesus. I want to go to Christ. Now, I only shared that one little, I didn't show the context of it. It's pretty much stands alone as a verse, and the reason why I posted it is because, see, it's like verses like this are pretty bittersweet. I mean, well, maybe not even, it's really kind of bitter because he said hundreds of millions here. And this type of reality, it shows the spiritual immaturity that we live amongst it. See, what I'm trying to say, I don't see how you can be a faithist, man, and not at some point start really caring about brethren. I just can't get that. If you can't do that, I mean, it seemed like since I learned about the Oahspe, man, I changed my mind. I just don't want to see. I remember a truck driver told me, he said, hey, man, a joke ain't funny unless everybody laugh. And I loved it, man. I loved it. I got it. And I think the creator the same way. He want us, he don't want us to be a bunch of book learners. I mean, it's okay. But I think that he's about real empathy, man. I think he's about really hoping that your brother, rooting for your brother. I mean, you call me kooky, man, but I really do. I really believe that, so you read stuff like this and you see that the deception that's in the world, because this is the mindset of people. Then we in the situation we've been talking about, AG, the creator is going to let people get their world rocked. Something, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, man, but those people over there in the Middle East getting bombed to hell and back, we ain't no better than them, really. That could be us. Can you imagine being in that situation over there where you don't know if you're going to be alive the next day? You got a country next to you. They load it down with weapons and day and night just bombing the hell out of you. Sirens going off all the time. You know what I'm saying? How, I just don't get it, man. How you could see, man, and then you think of the children. I hate to think of the children, man. I just block them out of my mind, But what am I saying, man? I think that today was a day that I took a good, hard look at the darkness in the land. People, they get on social media and they talk about solutions, and then they bring God up, and then they start talking about, we got to pray that people will, stop by, and they gods are the reasons for all this fighting. And you can't tell them because, you see, I don't know, man, it's just nearly crazy, man, what this situation that the creator got us in. And I know it's so that we can learn a lesson. Here's the second part of the verse that I posted. It says, and I send my host of high rays. Jump in when you want to, Sarah, okay? I'm just reading, and I'm getting ready to go to the reading of the video, title of the video, but if you can hear me, I don't know if you're still on the phone or whatever, but if I say something and it sparked a thought, just jump in, okay? Can you hear me okay? You still there? Can you hear me, Sarah? No? Okay. All right. It says, and I send my host of high raised angels to them, saying, come to the kingdoms of JEHOVIH. Be clothed and fed. Learn to clothe and feed others. For this is the way of resurrection, but they will not believe, and they turn away in stubbornness of heart. Even as you of the earth do, saying, no, I will rise by prayers and okay. Thanks, Dave. She's still on the phone. I can't see her picture. I didn't her screen. Let me see. I can see a little bit of her. So, Creator, he says, see, this is how we are. We just wanted, Christianity. I'll say Christianity because I don't know that much about the beast kingdom. It says, but they will not believe and turn away in stubbornness of heart, even as you of the earth do. He condemning the earth. He says, you say, I will rise only by prayers and confessions. See, I want to be changed in an instant, in the twinkling of an eye, and rise and sit at the right hand of God. This is the Oahspe Bible speaking. Creator saying you don't want to be active. See, you want to speak it and you want to bring it to pass. You want to say a prayer and you want to all the benefits, the good things, and that go without trying to elevate your spirit. Be part of the community. Try to share the light. Try to be selfless. Try to be be about whatever you can do to bless your brother and sister. Creator said, all you want to do is pray and confess.
Can I say something here?
Yeah. I was talking to you, but I think you were still on the phone. I was telling you.
I'm talking to my nephew, who I talk to so rarely. He's calling from California. Okay, so I'm sorry about that, everybody. But I just wanted to say, it sounds a little bit like that joke where someone's in a flood and he says God's going to help him and
oh yeah.
God comes along and he won't get on it because God's going to help him and a helicopter and I don't know one other thing. And finally he gets to heaven and he says, well, like, how come you didn't save me? Well, I threw you this, that, and the other, and you didn't take it.
Yeah. And it's a shame too, because I don't know, man. It's hard to see that for me because I remember I share from time to time. I saw a video of a fox that was caught in a trap, and then a man he went up to he wanted how sometimes they get their leg caught in a trap, a bear trap or whatever. So he went up to try to free it, right? But then when he got close, that thing started growling at him, right? I'm coming to free you from the trap, but you don't expect the animal to know that, right? But I'm equating it to you're going to see my point. So he went up. He concocted a way to shut that animal's mouth, right, or to block him from biting. And then he pulled his leg. He pulled the trap open, and that wolf immediately it bolted out of the trap and ran away. But then it got a little distance away, and don't you know that damn thing turned around and looked at that man. You know what I mean?
And did he say thank you?
That's what the thing was doing. Some animals, even some wild animals, they got them on video saying thank you. You know what I mean?
So I have a similar story, and it's a real one because I had mice.
This was a real story I told you.
Well, this is a real one, and this is here in Belize. I had mice, and I had a glue thing. And so I would take them outside to the vacant lot next door, and I would hold their tail up, and I would take a little stick and unloose the one hind leg, then the other, and then the front legs, and let it run off. Well, this one, the hind leg, the right leg was really deep into the glue, and apparently its head was not glued down, so that when I went to undo it, it was painful, and it turned around and bit me on my finger. Mm-hmm. And I got pissed, and I took that and I threw it upside down and I stamped on it, and it was still alive, didn't phase it. And then I felt guilty, and I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." So I turned it around, but now its head was stuck on the glue, and I just like a Band-Aid, I pulled its tail up, and I quickly took one leg, then the other, then the front, and it ran off in gratitude. I knew that it didn't bite me out of malice, that it was in pain. So I, and I realized, no, Anyway,
Well, my point was this.
A true story. How many women, let alone people, would be willing to touch their tail?
Well, my point was this. This was my point, that it seemed like sometimes even wild animals, that they can be more gracious than humans. I mean, when it comes to trying to share, when it comes to try, because early on in the Oahspe, I mean, you know how early on you're going to try to run and tell everybody. You want to, like, one of the major things I learned about Oahspe is what the beast kingdom is. Now, the beast kingdom is religion, and the whole world is under religion. And I got a lot of people who are under religion. I was in the Hebrew Israelites, and they'll say that's not religion. I'm calling it religion because their God is a man. They worship a God who is a man. And so the Oahspe says, when you start talking like worshiping anything that's born of a woman, brother, you under the beast kingdom. All right? And the Creator, now, one thing I know, he warns against that. Now, that's the major reason for my channel. Even if I say the same thing over and over and over again, I'm going to keep on saying it. Because I believe when the Creator said, he talked about the consequences of being under religion. Now, really, the rest is gravy. The knowledge of the creation, the cyclical nature of the earth, the upper heavens and the spiritual planes and the Ethereans and all that is, I call that gravy, in the sense that that's blessed knowledge. But one thing that I see that is serious is we got a world full of people, and they in that situation, they in that trap. And then when you come up and you try to you pull their leg out of that trap, it's just like the Bible say, that verse where it says about casting your pearls before swine. And then they trample your pearls, right? And then they come back for you. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but that's the nature of the reality that I live in. And I'm coming out of that, where I don't go run, the Oahspe it's like, it's not new to me. Like it's not like it was where you go and run and tell people. You learn that you just have to wait for the Creator. My thing is I like to share it, but I've cut down on it because I keep taking a beating, where people can't even sense that you're trying to share something to bless their soul. But they don't get it. It's just like that animal caught in that trap. You coming to help, but let me see, Dave, he's got something here. He says, seen the same thing on YouTube with a bobcat, and same thing. When released, the bobcat turned and looked at the rescue. Yeah, we might have seen the same video, Dave. We might have seen the same video, And it was like, an animal can do it, but a human can't.
Well, I can also tell you they're very telepathic.
Yeah, they can't, but you ought to get my drift,
But they also they know when you're working on healing them, and they will stay there instead of move. They'll stay there for a long, long time, and they are grateful. They can tell that you're working, because we do energy medicine and we work on them energetically, and they can tell. They know, and they're grateful.
You say it's time for the reading. You can stay on. You can stay on.
I'm going to mute
with the reading. No, I mean you can interject. I'm going to be reading. And if you like have a thought or something, you want to jump in and do that. Okay. And because I'm going to be reading pretty much what JEHOVIH have to say about war, and he's clear, man.
And let me know when you want me to tell you about what the thing at the UN.
Oh, go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and look for the book so I can do.
Okay. Well, what it was there was a big warning put out by Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, who was she's number 4 on the disinformation list. What are they called? The disinformation dozen, of which Dr. Buttar was number 6, Dr. Mercola is number 1, Bobby Kennedy was maybe number 3, number 2 was.
These are like the enemies list of the government.
Right, exactly. The ones that were against the jab and the most outspoken. Okay, so Dr. Tim Penny gave a big warning. I think it was yesterday or the day before that the UN.
You might want to tell brethren who you're talking about. Shirley Tenpenny.
Sherry Tenpenny. She's a doctor. She's very outspoken about the vaccines and other things. But what she said was the most dangerous thing that's just happened in the UN. They have just passed something and they didn't even put it to a vote. They don't have to do that in the UN. They put this out there. And what it is what she said was that all governments, 100% now, will be allowed to mandate having a biochip inserted. And then if they don't like the way you think, they can put you on a disinformation list and stop you from purchasing food, gasoline, travel. You have to stay in your home. Basically, they will shut you down, just like they did in Canada for the truckers that went across. And that was like an experiment. Can we do it? Yeah, they did it. Okay, so that's what they're going to be. That's what they're up to. So I put this out to everybody, and I got some feedback from high school kids I went to high school with. I'm 72 years old. So this is over 50 years, right? And they're writing back, oh, you're off your rocker. It doesn't say, and there are 66 pages. And I have someone here locally printed out all 66 pages and says it doesn't say anything like that. And I wrote back and I said, okay, does it say anything about the fact that the WHO, the World Health Organization, will have the right to declare a state of emergency for whatever reason they deem fit? Because as soon as they do, then they are allowed to do just that. They can declare, okay, we need to have a chip, which is called a biochip because it's a bioweapon. And some people came back and admitted it does say that, because we know what the agenda is of the World Health Organization, because they tried to get that passed in every country in the world. And I petitioned against it. I thought it had already been voted in, but apparently it didn't pass in the Congress. But they tried to pass that in our country and every country in the world. But now they got it in every country of the world because they snuck it in, because it didn't say what the agenda was. It just gave the WHO the right to do that, but it didn't specify. So Dr. Tenpenny actually knows what the agenda is, so she specified it, and it still went right under everybody's nose.
Well, I ain't surprised.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised at the corruption that's in the government, that's in the kingdom of mankind. I mean, you just can't tell me nothing.
So where in the Oahspe, hold on just a sec, Joseph, where in the Oahspe does it say that we will triumph over this?
I can't really point to anything other than, let me see. I know that we're in a cosmic era, and that represents the kingdom of God on earth and the end of the what is called the Cephas, which is that which is established, that which is traditional, that sort of thing being overthrown, which I look at as the kingdom of man. So so far as any specific chapter and verse, I know that I could be getting ready to read it here with the reading here.
Okay, good.
Chapter 32.
I'll mute.
Okay, well, you can jump in whenever if I say something you want to add something, that's fine with me.
Okay, thank you.
I'm probably going to get an answer to your question right here. That's usually the way it works. It's there's some question that gets posed, or at least, with me, I'll ask a question that right away, the creator, he'll give an answer, so.
Oh, it's that fast. I know it. It is that fast.
So let me go ahead. I'm going to read this. Let's see if we get an answer so far as the creator telling us that the eventual downfall of the kingdom of man and the establishment of the kingdom of God. And probably he's going to address that one way or another. Let's check it out. Let's read it together. So, may the Heavenly Father bless the reading of his word. The title of the video is Jehovah's Word on War. Jehovah's Word on War. So, it says, God judges against war. Chapter 32, Book of Judgment. I'm going to read. It says, God said, now behold, O man, I have declared my first and second resurrections to you. And in like manner is the third resurrection, but still higher. And so on are all the heavens of Jehovah, higher and higher, until the inhabitants of them become very lords and gods. So Creator's saying, they telling you his agenda right there. His agenda is that his children, which are all people, become lords and gods, but everybody won't. Matter of fact, very few will, from what I can see, reading Oahspe, will attain that status. It says, nevertheless, verse 2, nevertheless, hear, O man, the wisdom of your God, and be appreciative of the way of resurrection open to you. See, that's one thing that I hope it's not true for most brethren like it is from, I hope it's very painful to see people tied to the earth, but have absolutely no inclination, no proclivity to spiritual things. Just to live for the flesh with absolutely no spiritual inclination at all. And here the Creator, he says, nevertheless, hear, O man, the wisdom of your God. Be appreciative of the way of resurrection, which is open to you, which is to learn, to attain to his voice, which is he's telling you how you treat your brethren is like right up there at the very top. If you have this ability in you to be, remember, Sarah, what we talk about, self-abnegating, selfless, that's really, the whole thing wrapped up into one word. He says, now I declare to you, there are angels lower than the first resurrection, being incapacitated by various causes from knowing who they are, where they came from, or where they are going. Indeed, many of them do not know words of speech, nor signs, nor tokens, but are as destitute of knowledge as young babies. Many of them died in infancy. Some of them were killed by abortion. Some of them were idiots. Some of them deranged. Many of these live by fetal, and so that you may know what fetal is, behold, Jehovah has given you testimony in mortality, such as when a young child sleeps with a very old person. That child is devoured of his substance. It says, in such a case, the old person is fetal by the young child. The old person said to live by fetal. Now hear, O man, the judgment of your God. Half the people born into the world, including stillbirths and abortions, die in infancy. Therefore, there are 1 billion angel infants fetal on the earth every 30 years. These angels never obtain objective knowledge of the corporal earth, but are compelled to learn earthly things subjectively through mortals upon whom they are fetal. Judgment is rendered against all nations and peoples on the earth for this great darkness. These early deaths. And because these angels are thus bound to mortals and cannot go away from them until such time as mortals die, mortals are responsible and bound to train them by examples of righteousness and good works to rise up. Now, other than these angels, there are those who are slain in war, whose minds are in chaos, who, dying in the heat of passion, fear, and anger, become wild and bound on battlefields, or perhaps stroll away into deserted houses and castles and are lost, bewildered, and unapproachable. Of these, there are hundreds of millions, and they are in all countries, among all peoples in the world. They are distracted, tormented with their own fears and bewilderment. So let's talk going back. This is talking about, these are talking about people who are slain in war. Their mindset. They leave the earth under this mindset. If they're in like a war situation, like with what's going on in the Middle East right now, you don't know when a bomb is going to fall. You live under that stress and anticipation. You're in a war zone. He's talking about those people as well. He says their minds are in chaos. Some are dying in the heat of passion, like the soldiers. Fear and anger become wild and bound on battlefields, or perhaps stroll away into deserted houses and castles, and are lost, bewildered, and unapproachable. It says, of these there are hundreds of millions, and they are in all countries and among all peoples in the world. It says they are distracted and tormented with their own fears and bewilderment. And it says judgment is rendered against all nations and peoples in the world who engage in war. See, now America is nothing. America, Britain, the major war-making bodies in the history of man for the last thousands of years have been America and the British Empire, mainly. America and the British Empire. And the Creator, he says, judgment is rendered. It's rendered against all peoples, against all nations and peoples in the world who engage in war. And then it says, thus bringing these afflictions upon the angels of heaven. So here, it's talking about up here, what we read, it's talking about angels of heaven. They come up in the spiritual, in this mindset. They out of their mind. They take their minds with them.
Of course they do.
You know, yeah. See, I mean, imagine, think about that, you know. It says judgment is rendered against every nation and all people in the world who carry on war. See? And look, and who are accessory to war, in which any man created alive by JEHOVIH is slain in defense of any king, ruler, or in defense of any country or government in the world. So the thing is, it don't seem like these words don't have no effect, except for brethren who believe in it. But by far the majority, these words, they ain't got no effect.
What do you mean they don't have any effect?
Or else,
it's really powerful.
Or else there wouldn't be any war.
Oh, no, because it's not being said to be effective. It's stating a fact.
Yeah.
It's stating a fact, and it's what's happening right now. Look at all the different accessories to that are perpetuating the wars that are going on right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then, I mean, he says, the Creator, he says he's against offensive and defensive wars. And defensive. And we live in a reality where people, it's like an unwritten rule. Somebody hits you, you hit them back. That's sort of thing.
Justify it.
Yeah. And people, and the Creator is saying he ain't like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I'm not like that. I'm telling you, turn what Jesus Christ said is true. Turn the other cheek. Now, I have to say, I don't think I can do that if that were to happen to me. So it's kind of hard to fault anybody else. But it don't make this any less true that the Creator is saying that he's against war. And it seems like that's all we know.
Well, it's actually more than that. If you really take a look at what he's saying, or it's saying what the statement is saying is that this is the way for you to recognize if they are for the war, aiding the war, justifying war in any way, shape, or form. This is the enemy camp. This
Yeah.
is, and so it's just giving you the clues to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's just making a statement to give us a way to recognize who's good and who's evil.
I mean, this information, it helped you out. It's good because it helped you to change your mind. You know, it should help you to change your mind. Like
How?
by internalizing it. Remember what I was saying earlier in the video? There's a brother named Billy Carson who's psychic. He's on that level. And he spoke about cellular molecular biology. And then he said that if you repeat something for 21 days straight, that it'll change your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, call me kooky, but I believe that type of thing because it seems to speak about the creator to me, that the way that he's made us. And I think that when I look at the fallen gods, I think they seem to know that we are much, much powerful, much, much more powerful than we know. And I think that we're in the cosmic era now, and a lot of this stuff is going to get out. And I think that's what's going to be the overthrow of the false gods, the beast kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge, like you were saying, when you can identify something, then that first you have to be able to have knowledge of something before you can eradicate it or deal with it. I forget exactly what you were saying. I mean, I think it was true what you were saying, but first you have to have the knowledge of it, and then you can approach it.
First, you have to have the knowledge. Then you have to understand the knowledge, and then you raise up to the next level. And note that in the beginning of what you were reading, they were talking about just that, about the different levels of the resurrections and how basically you raise up.
Yeah, the third resurrection is just a higher level. I mean,
and most people, when they're in the second resurrection, they can't see it until they have the true understanding of what that means, that higher level of anointment or whatever it is that's there, and then and understand that, and then you will see that third resurrection. But not all will have the ability to do that, and I believe that's what it's saying there.
Mm-hmm. When we looked at it yesterday, and then I was showing that verse where it talked about subjective and objective, and it showed, it's like in a nutshell, the creator, he's showing you two types of people. It's like he's showing you the subjective mind, people who have that subjective mind, and people who have the objective mind where their perspective is from the spiritual looking down, whereas the subjective mind is from the earth looking up. So it's that's like a real easy way of looking at the world, whether someone is of what resurrection they are of. Fritz said the have and have nots, yeah. But the first resurrection is like, now that I know what I read yesterday, what I saw in that verse, it's like Creator is saying the first resurrection is like the subjective mindset. It might not sound like it, but it go along with what you were saying, Sarah, about
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, it's like it was saying the first resurrection. And there's a level before the first resurrection, from what I can see. Hell, knots. That's below the.
You want to scroll back up there for a second, because it kind of mentions it.
It's not even, what verse? You know what verse it was?
Okay, so where it talks about right in here somewhere, right, yeah. Okay, so hold on. Now I declare to you, there are angels lower than the first resurrection, being incapacitated, meaning they have not the knowledge thereof, by various causes from knowing who they are, where they came from or where they are going. See, they don't know where they are. They don't know who they are. These might be those that are possessing other beings, or they maybe died before they got a chance to know who they are. Maybe they died in infancy, or even before they were, maybe before they were even born.
Well,
So
Dave was saying yesterday that they go to Yatante. That's the place.
maybe David would like to chime in on this.
They were young. They were too young to know the corporal reality, but they go and learn about corporal things in this place called Yatante.
Right. And that was a new one for me.
You're there, Dave. Why don't you come on and talk about it? Let me put the link. Let me drop the link back in the room.
But being incapacitated basically means not having the knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, and so that they don't even get to that first resurrection yet. They're kind of in between.
Yeah, that's how I see it. This is now declared to you there are angels lower. Now, if I'm not mistaken, lower is hell. That's a
no, not necessarily hell.
Well,
but maybe purgatory, somewhere in between, somewhere caught in between.
Well, I have to see it. I have to read it. But
it's not very specific, so we're just guessing.
Well, I think that the Oahspe, it only mentions hells, knots, and then the first resurrection, second, third.
Wait, let me ask you, does Oahspe actually mention hell?
Wait a minute, I think Dave came on. Hold on a second. Yeah, it does. It mentions hell.
Where?
Yeah, hold on. Let me bring Dave in. I think he's coming.
And Dave will probably know where that is.
Hey, Dave.
And Dave, do you like Dave or David? What's your preference?
David. Doesn't make a difference. Just don't call me too late for supper.
I knew you beat me to it, man. I was going to take that line, Dave. So, hey, what do you think? First of all, Yatante, that's the place where the young spirits go, isn't it? Those who haven't had a chance to experience corporal life.
Exactly. Anyone who doesn't have hasn't fulfilled a corporeal life goes to Yatante to learn corporeal things. This was set up during the reign of Fragapati.
Is there anything lower than the first resurrection?
Blanked out for a minute.
Ask him again. I don't think he heard it.
Is there anything lower than the first resurrection?
Not that I know of.
Now, what about hell?
It says it right there, David. It says right there.
Lower than okay.
What
they're
about
incapacitated by various causes, right? From not knowing who they. Go ahead, scroll up.
And make it so so you can see the whole. We can't see the end. It's too big. Can you minimize it just a little bit so we can see the whole paragraph? There. Perfect. That's too small. Well, it's okay for me. That's smaller. Yeah, that's too small.
Is that
you can make it a little bigger? So I don't have to put my face right on it.
Yeah.
Does that cover what you wanted to see, Dave?
Yeah. Just scroll it up. Yeah, keep going. Okay, stop. In infancy, right? Some were killed by abortion, and some were idiots or deranged, right? Now, all these are taken to Yatante to be restored to consciousness, right? Uh-huh. So that at least brings them up to at least the first resurrection. And as they are taught and work and learn, then some of them go to the second resurrection, right? And then once they become brides and bridegrooms of
Come
creation,
in.
then they go to the
Come
third resurrection.
Leave it there.
Wait, hold on, David. Let's until he gets back.
Leave it there.
Maybe you should just go
somebody's,
answer the door.
Somebody's
We'll wait for you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I told him just leave it there. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
See, where was it? Oh, once they some of them died in infancy, some of them were killed by abortion, and some were idiots and deranged. Now, yeah, they're definitely lower than the first resurrection, but all these spirits are brought to Yatante to be rejuvenated, repaired, taught about corporeal existence, the ones that died in infancy and abortion, right? The deranged ones, they usually end up in hospital and are taken care of until they have some semblance of at least who they are and what they are and what they're doing. And then they're also, again, refreshed on mortal life and that they were once immortal. And these are usually the ones that have been released from hell and were in knots for a very long time, so they don't even know much of anything anymore because of the pressure of the hells and hell knot that was on them for such a long period. But Yatante was set up by Fragapati during his reign, and it's still there today, and it will be until abortion and infancy deaths are no more. And it's the only subjective heaven on Atmospheria.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of makes it a special place. But anyone who can get out of the body and travel astrally can go there and learn and or become a teacher of those who have not had a corporeal existence.
Mm-hmm. Now, Dave, what was before Yatante? Does the Oahspe say?
No, it doesn't. I don't think there was a subjective heaven like Yatante before Fragapati came.
So what was there?
Those spirits simply went out of existence.
Man,
those that couldn't understand that there was existence after death.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, going out of existence is they go back to Creator, you see.
Mm-hmm.
But they will never remember a past life because it's like brand new, right? If they come back into a physical embodiment at a later time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, I have a question, David, because doesn't Oahspe say that they don't really believe in a past life?
Yeah, that's correct. But however, this is incarnation and not reincarnation.
Well, and there's such a thing as a soul body.
Yeah.
And that then that can go back to take on another body. I don't know how to explain it very well.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm thinking is that is incarnation instead of reincarnation.
Gotcha. I like the differentiation.
Yeah. However, when you look up incarnation versus reincarnation, right, it'll always go to some Christian doctrine that says, well, Christ was God incarnate, right, which was incarnation, right? And then it says reincarnation, and then it'll go off to like the Hindu religions and the Buddhist religion, right? But they don't understand that anyone can be incarnate, right? And not be a god percent right then and there, because they're going to have to learn and do a whole lot of learning to reach that Godhead. You see.
Now, does Oahspe say anything about creating contracts before we come into the human body, so that
No, it doesn't. But there are other books and documents that say such, and then there's many mediums who are very gifted that say such. But now this may be a higher version of Oahspe that we don't have yet, because it says Oahspe is not the be-all, do-all, and the end of everything. It's just the beginning.
Exactly.
You see. So I kind of put those questions, I put them in a little box with a question mark, right? And I'm still studying these as to how relative they are. You see.
Well, and those kinds of things can be in the more. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And I found many of those questions to be very relative, even though it wasn't specifically spoken about in Oahspe. But yes, I do have a tendency to believe in a soul contract. Why?
Interestingly enough. Oh, go ahead.
Exactly why, I don't know, but it rings true to me.
A soul contract.
Well, I can tell you, in the energy work that we do, which is neuromodulation technique by Dr. Feinberg, my husband really does it. I don't really do it. But we muscle test, asking yes or no questions. And he was working with a boy, 12 years old, that was having lots of seizures and was on different medications that were contradictory. But that boy was supposed to die at birth, and the doctor saved him. And what my husband came up with was that he had a contract to come in and die, and the parents were supposed to experience the death of their child at birth. But because the doctors saved them, they screwed up the contract. That and that came out of it. So that at 12, then they had to endure raising this child, autistic and with seizures, and at 12 years old, still wearing a diaper, not really being able to talk well, having to carry him around, etc., like torture. And my husband started researching the medication that he's on, and they contradict each other, and the medication alone will kill him. So they will still get to experience their child dying, but they had to go through that whole thing first.
Yeah.
But that wasn't part of the original contract.
Now,
That's not
wasn't part of
too
the
woo-woo for
original
everybody.
contract, but maybe it was an addendum to the contract.
Well, yeah, it got renegotiated.
Yeah, it's that addendum renegotiated
Right.
contract. Yeah,
Because this is
I
all
can
in
see
it's
that.
in the ancestral morphic field. All the information is in the ancestral morphic field.
Yeah.
And that is the mother field that holds in all the other fields.
So, Dave, is there any
I
language
would.
about soul contract in the Oahspe?
Huh?
Is there anything in the Oahspe about a soul contract?
No. Nothing in the Oahspe about a soul contract. However, Sister, no, I don't
Sarah
think she's
Sue.
on today.
Oh, a different sister.
Yeah, Sister Aneth. She knows quite a bit about that soul contracts. Sister Asenath. There we go.
Oh, Asenath?
Yeah.
Okay.
When
So
she
that's
comes
where-
on, she can probably tell you a whole lot more about soul contracts than I could.
So it's something that the creator makes with the soul. Who are the parties?
I would say this would be if it is, it would be above Otian, right? It would be those who govern these worlds, or whatever council governs the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
You see, there are different places within the galaxy, as you know, through Oahspe, right? Like the whole 12 symbols, or what is it, 144,000 years to pass through each zodiac sign at 3,000 years apiece.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere, in that range. But who is above that galaxy, right? Who is running this galaxy, right? There's got to be another organization above them and another organization above them.
Mm-hmm.
You see, because in Oahspe it says that we have not fulfilled even half our destiny until we have created galaxies and peopled them. I know you read that somewhere.
I haven't read that, but that's very cool.
Yeah, Cal, he talks about that a lot. And
yeah. Brother Cosmon Cal would be the one to see on that. Because that definitely opened up his eyes quite a bit. And I know you know Cosmon Cal.
I have met him once, maybe twice, because he was coming on the Wednesday call for a little while.
Yeah.
And I like what he had to say. Joan and him kind of oil and water. But anyway, I kind of like what he had to say.
Well, he's had Sister Martinez on twice or three times on his Jehovah Chronicles and his new Cosmon Chronicles.
I'll have to go and check it out.
Yeah, Sister Susan B. Martinez.
Oh, Susan B. Martinez. Yes, that's push.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've talked with her, and she comes on once in a while.
Yeah,
She knows.
he had
She
her
knows a
on.
lot. She knows probably the most.
Yeah, well, she wrote wrote about JBN in her Hidden Prophet.
Yeah, I'd like to read some of her stuff.
She has her books are out on Amazon. I'm not sure if the Hidden Prophet is still available or whether it's being republished or not.
You know, I
But
wonder
it
what. Oh, I
was
know
on
where
the.
I know where my notes are on her. Ooh.
Well, let me get back to reading then, and y'all jump in.
Okay, thank you for letting us take that little sidebar.
Let's see. It says, verse 5, many of these live by fetal, so that you may know what fetal is. Behold, Jehovah has given you testimony and mortality, such as when a young child sleeps with a very old person, that child is devoured of his substance. The person is fetal on the young child. The old person is said to live by fetal. So somehow the old person gets life out of the young child.
Wait, what does that mean? What does that mean? They're not having sex, they're just sleeping together?
Yeah.
Well, the young child and the old person, somehow the young child gives off some substance that the old person.
Well, yeah, they do. And that's what Gandhi used to do. He slept with 5 virgins to get the energy from the virgins.
So it says, now hear, O man, the judgment of your God. Half the people born in the world, including stillbirths and abortions, die in infancy. Therefore, there are 1 billion angel infants fetal on the earth every 30 years. So the aborted spirits, they come back and they go and live with someone older and fetal off of them. They learn about corporality that way. Is that right, Dave?
Yeah.
That sound
But
right?
then they are taken by their Ishars back to Utante.
Well,
if they are that young as being aborted, not even being formed, you see.
But it says
They're taken to the mother or the father, whichever is best suited, right?
It says they are fetal
for a specific period of time, say like 6 to 8 hours, and fetaled on them, and then removed and taken back to Utante.
So when it says, therefore, there are 1 billion angel infants fetal on the earth every 30 years, then they leave, they come back, and they fetal on their.
Now, not only Utante helps in this, but all the heavens, all the second resurrection atmosphere in the heavens under God, the true God, will help out in this fetaling process.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just not one heaven doing it. It's a concerted effort.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have a question. So if someone has an abortion, does it say that their fetus is going to hang around so that they can learn from that mother anyway?
Yes, it will. Now, I've personally known 2 or 3 ladies that had abortions, and they were very, very sad that they did this, right? And they wanted definitely to repent for it.
I have a whole different view on abortion. Truthfully, if it's done soon enough, the truth of the matter is that is tumor tissue. In the first 56 days, it is pure tumor tissue. There's no soul in it. Not to worry. And that's because the body will abort it naturally. if it's not healthy, it can push it out before the placental wall is even laid.
Yeah.
So I think the timing makes a difference, because truthfully, what my mother gave us a healthy thing. She said, if you had an unwanted tumor, wouldn't you want to remove it? And just recently, I mean, a few years ago, I put it out to the universe. I wanted to understand how the placental wall is laid. And I got an answer that fast, came where in the first 56 days, it's when the egg meets the sperm, and it doubles every day for 56 days. That's the mitosis. In that time period, it is just tumor tissue. And the placental wall has not been laid. And then what happens is, once it succeeds that length, then it will send a signal to the pancreas, and then the pancreas will send a signal down to the uterus, and it'll start laying the placental wall.
Now, according to Oahspe, right, the spirit that Jehovah puts in, or Creator creates, happens the exact instant of fertilization, that spark. Now, Brother Cosmo and Cal did a whole video on that, and he finds that the sperm doesn't swim straight. It goes in a concentric vortexual motion until it hits the egg. And when it does hit that egg and penetrates, there is a spark, a visible spark that they can see in a microscope that occurs. And this is when that soul, I believe, takes into the corporeal form.
Well, when I was pregnant, and I was like almost 4 months, I was 3 months pregnant, and I had a psychic fair, and I had these all these psychics. Some were saying, "Oh, it's going to be wonderful. It's it's going to change your life." But this one guy who was head of a meditation group that I went to said, "You need to make up your mind what you're going to do." I wasn't contemplating abortion at all, but he said, "You need to make up your mind, because I see that the soul body is working its way in, but it's not in yet." Then I went to a lady that said, "Are you sure you want it?" You get to ask 3 questions, and it was automatic handwriting. And my first question was, "Will I have a healthy and happy child?" And she said, "Well, it has." She just looked at me, and I didn't tell her I was pregnant. She just said, "Are you sure you want this child?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I do. My mom's not crazy about it. We hadn't told my dad yet because we knew he'd pulled the abortion card." And she said, "No, your mom has nothing to do with it." She says, "I see that this child is unhappy, and she will come back to you at a later date, but she will leave." And my next question was, "Will she abort naturally?" And she said, "Yes, she will." And then the third one, I asked about my store. Okay, then when we told my dad at 4 months, because then I knew it was safe, you couldn't have an abortion at 4 months, he was furious that I wasn't going to inoculate back then in 1983 or 82, because she was born in 83, but I'd been studying it. I already knew I wasn't going to inoculate. She's 41 now. And he said he would pay for me to go to a naturopath, and I was at the naturopathic college at the time. Or if I would also go to an allopathic doctor to discuss abortion.
You froze up.
And I said, "Okay, deal." But I went to the naturopath first, and he ordered an ultrasound. And he's going around on my belly with a probe for about a half an hour. And they have to make sure they can differentiate the bladder from the placenta and from the uteral wall. So they make your bladder. You have to bladder first. Right? They're going half an hour.
I got to step in here.
Oh, I'm almost done. I got
to step in here first. Okay?
Okay.
I don't mean to sound harsh. All right? But I am not doing a good job on this video. Okay? Because I'm purposing to talk about what JEHOVIH says about war. Okay?
Well,
Now,
can I just finish? Because I have like less
I'm
than a
at
sentence.
fault. I'm at fault because I let it get out of hand. Okay?
Okay, but
I
can
don't
I
mind-
just
I don't
finish
mind-
because I have one less than a sentence?
I don't mind when we take up some side issues and we get right back on topic.
Well, this will bring it
I
right back to topic.
I failed on this video because its purpose is to talk about JEHOVIH and his word. Okay? Now, I don't mind, I like to try to set a little time aside
Let me finish.
previous to when I get started reading this word. Okay? But it's turning into something that I don't want it to turn into.
Well, you don't know because you don't know where it's going.
I know that I'm not talking about what he's saying in his word. Okay? I know I'm not doing that because I'm not reading. I'm not sharing about what the things that are being said in this word. So therefore, I'm not accomplishing what I'm setting out to do. I want to take the time to share what JEHOVIH says about a particular subject. Okay? Now, I'm sorry I sound harsh, but
Well, then I'll put it in the chat.
The time set aside for the video is over with now. And the things that we're talking about now is when I usually will take it up, talk about it for a few minutes. But Sarah, I'm telling you that it's all I value your opinion, okay?
Well,
but I don't like it when I have spent the video neglecting the word, the light, what JEHOVIH has to say. So you're welcome on the channel, but its focus has got to be on the creator for the time set aside. So you can see I'm a little bothered by the way I let it get out of hand. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video. I'm going to end it. And then hopefully next week we can pick up, maybe we can just have a time to just have a free for all where we can talk about these things. But I purpose for this time to be set aside where I can talk about what JEHOVIH has to say about a particular subject. So I want to apologize to anyone who was coming on hoping that I would share about what he has to say about war. I didn't. I wasn't real. I let it get out of hand. The fault is mine. So I'm going to close the video now and then pick it up, creator willing, Monday. Peace be unto you. Shalom.